First thing we're going to do is delete our avatar and select the top-down menu from our Views toolbar. Activate the Polygon tool, making sure in the bottom left-hand corner that it has 6 sides. If it does not have 6 sides, enter the number 6 and press Enter so that the hexagon will show up with 6 sides. From the origin point, click and drag off, making sure that you have a flat edge across the top. If you are not flat when you start, press Control and it'll flatten out the top edge. We will enter a distance of 5 for the radius. Next, activate our offset tool. Click once from the top line and move slowly and just a little bit inside of the first edge, and let's set this distance for 3 inches. The remaining offsets we're going to create are going to be the same distance as before. However, instead of simply entering in a new offset for 3 every time, if we double click, we can create smaller offsets all the way through until we get to the center. Roughly about that distance. Let's now orbit around so we can see our hexagon from the side, and we're going to use an push-pull from the very center up for a distance of 25 feet. Now we want to have each other hexagon come up the same distance, but we can't just click it or double click it and push it up, because what happens is we get a hole through the bottom. So instead of just push pulling that distance, I'm going to press the Control key first, and you'll notice a plus sign next to the push pull tool. Now if I double click, you'll notice that the bottom of the one we just moved up is still there. This hole in the center can stay for now. Making sure you press the Control button before each of the rest of your extrusions. Make sure you have the plus that goes all the way up to the top for the remaining hexagons. The hexagon's all pulled out. Look to the bottom to make sure we have all of our faces, and this would be a good time to save your work. The tower will be needed later on as an intersection tool like we did for the rocket. It will be used to intersect with the sphere to get the curvy edges, the curvy faces that make up the rainbow ball. So that the tower can be erased easier later on, we're going to make it into a group so that we don't have to delete each of the individual lines later on. With my select tool, I'll move over the top, make it a group. We'll then once again grab our circle tool, making sure that the sides are still at 100 and not 24. Move to the middle of the tower, and on the green axis get the center point. If you have to mouse over the edge of the hexagon, you can do so. Find your center point, pull out, and set this as a distance of 8 feet. With this sphere created, we must make another one that is perpendicular. Let's orbit our mouse around and move the circle up to the top so you can see the color of it. We don't want to make a circle on the green axis. We want to make it along the red. So let's orbit around until your circle is red. Once your circle is red, you can orbit down just a little bit so that you can see the top of the sphere. With the circle glowing red, hit Shift, and now zoom in, click in the center of your group, and drag out. We'll go just past the distance of where a hexagon ends. So we'll do this for about 5 feet, 5 inches. We're now going to wrap this circle around the circle on the bottom. And to do that, let's take our select tool, click once on this sphere, on the circle, excuse me, and now take your follow me tool and click on the sphere up top, which will send it all the way around. We can now delete the outer circle, and you can see our sphere is just coming through the edges all the way around. Very carefully select the sphere, and with your move tool, grab a portion of it and come straight down into the middle of the tower along the blue axis. You'll notice that it is completely inside, and the last operation to do with the sphere at this point is to be with it selected, right click on it and say intersect faces with the model. This may take a second or two depending on the computer speed. And if the computer locks up for a little bit, don't worry about it. Just give it a second. And now that the sphere is inside, we're going to take our eraser tool, and with one click we should be able to delete the tower grouping, leaving just the ball as you see it, which is pretty cool. Next, go through with your paint bucket tool and color at will. Once it's colored up, you should have a ball that looks something like this.